Energy update for April 11th, 2021. That's the new titles, right? Those are those new titles for the energy of the moment. Sometimes we come on with celebrity outcast. How many people want to know what it's like to hear from those souls who were considered the outcast of society in essence, and who brought themselves another soul of soul? Now, in essence, this is going to be a mixed bag, okay? Mixed bag, which means you never know what you're going to get when you're with Channel for the Soul. It could be a serious topic, it could be a celebrity with a serious issue, or it could be one of those musical beauties that could come through for her. She gets them in the mindset. She's attached to 2 or 3 of them in the heart. But in the moment, we want to say thank you for watching Channel for the Soul. And I want to honor this day as a day for all souls, right? There is another vision of military who are being honored in this woman's heart, because she hears about those souls saying, that they somehow still support her vision from the other side of the veil, even if they don't in this moment here. Some people will start to understand those visions of soul embodiment, and the vision is of, oh man, do they feel good when they go to the ecstatic state of awareness. That's another vision of who I am as a soul. Okay, so many people would say, well, what am I going to bring through today? It could be, well, we were going to say Kurt Cobain has shown up several times in essence for her, but in essence, that's that vision of suicide that some people may want to kind of rewind and watch the, on the spot reading of hearing the tones a few days ago. It's going to be posted because it was a preview of that vision of, I sucked the life out of my family when I did what I did. Okay. And in essence, we're not going to sit there and dwell on the negative aspects of his life. But in essence, his mindset was very much of I tried to take care of everybody for a certain amount of time, and then I said, I don't give a fuck anymore. And that's the nature of his soul. He was one of those visionaries that said, I got to do what I got to do, and I'm just going to rise and do what I want. Once I hit that level of fame, I kind of said, why? Why do I even care about it? Because I'm not getting anything from it. These people around me don't give a blank about who I am. And he would say, I don't give a fuck about who they are either. He was that angry in that moment. But in essence, as he rises to that level of understanding, and you start to hear the vision of, oh my gosh, she's going for it, right? It's his soul, which is now in that place of peace and love for the majority of his family, of course. He had issues with almost everybody in his heart because, in essence, he didn't feel like he was being acknowledged as the rising star. He's like, I'm still honored by so many souls in this vision. It's like he's over it. Those souls that want to take control of the work. Give me the fucking mic, is what he would say. And I'll tell you who I was. And I'll let you know when you're rising to that level of I don't give a blank about what everybody says, right? Well, he's going to honor her vision as a soul and say, I don't want her to get kicked off of Facebook or YouTube or whatnot. Okay? But in essence, the Hardy Boys, that's another vision of Jesus, where is this coming from? Okay, the Hardy Boys were another vision that she grew up with. So a lot of times you're going to hear those souls that she connected with in her mind, right? I didn't honor his vision when he was here, much less when he left. I felt sorry for his soul in essence, because he connects with her in a soul way that others on this plane will not understand, because it has nothing to do with how they passed or how they were in the moment. But where they are now is in an understanding of I'm all that and more, and I'm still going to play my cards right. That's what he says. I'm going to play my cards right, and I'm going to make sure that whoever comes through doesn't interrupt me. So for him, his vision is, you may have someone who comes on the line who wants to hear more about who you are and what you do, but I'm the one that's taking control of the show. That's the nature of light. Okay? So his vision was, I needed the control of my destiny. And I took it. And I said, I'm going to jump. And then I said, I don't give a blank anymore about this world. He already felt like he was having a meltdown. In essence, he already knows I was traveling at the speed of light in my mind. That's what he felt like when he crossed over, in essence. And we're not going to get too personal out of respect for his heart. He's not going to go to that vision of what it was like for him, but he says, I am all that and more, and I will never, ever give that up. That's the nature of souls. We start to rise to that vision of I'm all that and more. In essence, it's more like he wants to be there. He says, I still felt like crap or like dirt in the moment, because he doesn't rise as, it's like he's not rising as long as what he wants. He wants to rise in a slow, measured pace. Okay. He would want to be more of the gentle, loving, kind soul that was not portrayed in many videos. He was the angry, I'm here to, change the world, right? He wanted to just rock his heart out. I knew where I was going, because once I hit that fame and fortune, I said, this is not for me. I wasn't honored for the soul that I was. I wasn't distinguished enough to be a part of the parties, right? Oh, there were plenty of parties, but I didn't have the respect that I wanted from all those other souls, right? How many people say, I do my work because I love it. I don't do it for the fame and fortune. I just keep going. And then it hits. Some people say he hit rock bottom. And he said that was not even the bottom of the pit that I had to go through in my childhood energy. Okay? And that's the nature of many who come into this vision of it. They'll say, what does that mean? I didn't give a blank about the people around me, right? That's what a lot of people assume. He's like, I was in that mindset of, I can't deal with it anymore. I can't deal with all the struggle in my mind. I can't deal with all the struggle in my heart. I was lost in my mind, in his vision of it. And then he says, now I know better. Now I know I'm not hearing the fucking voices in my head that are, keeping me up at night. How many people are going through that process of, he would say it was evolutionary impulses to create more visions for her. You could rock the world with that vision. Most people of now may or may not know who that, it's nirvana. He said, I was looking for it my whole life. That place of peace, joy, happiness, and ecstasy. He's like, this woman can hit those notes, and she denies it because of who she has been seen with on the internet. Some people come back in their visions of soul and try to take advantage of the vision of love. So you want to hear that? No, it's about those who are on the other side of the screen, who she has to then hear from their souls about what they're thinking about in the moment. Tackle that vision, why don't you? Okay? It's because there's not as many, and so I get feedback from my sessions sometimes. And it's okay. Now, in his wisdom, he would say, let's rock the world. Because he's about let's rock the world. So when he says she's got access to things that other people don't want, right? You don't want to know about the world as it is in the moment. He'd say, I would say, hell yeah, let's go for it. Let's take on that vision of what? He said, Jesus Christ Superstar, everyone's going to be crossing themselves. He's laughing. He says, she has to deal with so much religious garbage. And he said that's what he would call it, but he understands it because he said, inside I was very much of the faith in the afterlife. But he was like, I didn't even care about it. I just wanted to be done. And they think that we're going to go and vibrate in this beautiful vision of love. Everyone would assume that he was in some hellish realm. He said, I rock wherever I go. I don't need anybody telling me I didn't rise anywhere. That's the nature of love. You come to your soul and then they say, you're beautiful. And you don't have to work with those souls who try to say that you're less than somebody else. His vision is, I was all that and more, but I didn't tell people. I just wanted to be left alone. That's his soul. I just wanted to be left alone. And so in essence, that's why she's honoring his vision. She doesn't play it out, but she hears from those visions of those souls who come to her and say, it's going to be okay. We honor you for the struggle and for the mindset of what you are going through. They have their own ideas about what that means. So, the energy update for the moment, right? Say hello to you are too, right? You are too. You are too. There are 2 other souls who will rock this world like he did. And he's going to say, we make our mark, don't we, sweetheart? That's his vision as a soul, okay? We know how to rock the world. What it takes is the instant gratification. He says, I was looking for instant gratification for a while, and then I said, no thanks. I'm going to play my cards right. And that's why he's saying, I'm going to back out slowly when I want to, right? Everyone assumes Brenda's got issues. She's the one that's giving people their hearts, handed to them on a platter, left and right, day and night. She hears visions for other souls. Sometimes. The nighttime can be the struggle because usually that's when she gets hers and she's exhausted. Because during the day, in her vision, right, she's still dealing with souls of mediumship who are still trying to make it sound like that's where she's at. It's not the same. They will give me that vision of their energy as they were if they need to. Okay, it is a spiritual bonding that I have with souls of all sorts of planes, to be honest. So that's why I get the souls of those who are also here in this plane still living. Okay, that's their souls coming through. We're all that and more, people. We don't just reside on one realm for the most part. Many of us do, but in our minds. But oh no, there's more to soul than that. So, how many people want to know more about those visions of love from his soul? He would say a lot more if he wasn't being restricted by the vision of I'm going to be banned, or get some strikes against me. And that's his soul. He would say, I don't give a blank about it. And that's true, but he says, no, I'm honoring of her heart. I'm not going to do that to her. If she has to bleep out a word or two, she'll bleep it out. It comes back to haunt him, how strong he was in his mindset with people. And he was like, I still create with their visions here, but we are all creating in various realms and various planes, depending on what our mindset is. He's like, I went to the hellish realms here. Why would I think I'd go anywhere else once I threw in the towel? Okay. he had to deal with that vision, but it wasn't as strong as what he thought it was going to be, and he didn't have to feel like it was the end of the road. Okay, he's saying this is the end of the road for her if he can't break free from that vision. Okay, he doesn't want to go back to that. Most don't. Okay, so for her, his vision was, yeah, she knows my songs. She knows some of his songs, not all, and she loves them. They're intense. And some of them are too much for her. She has always been about the energy of a song. It can knock you down. The energy that she takes on for all of our hearts sometimes can literally lift her to those highest visions of love, or it can literally take her to the bedroom and literally she will be out cold almost in a heartbeat. Some people would say, oh, it's would they make fun of it because they say, oh, it's like narcolepsy. It's not. It's the energy of her soul saying it's time to rest. This is giving you guys that vision of it. Now, she's being told, let's get on with the show, baby. That's the nature of his soul. So you'll understand why this is one of those channeling sessions versus a guidance session. It's all under that vision of guidance. Okay, because in essence, he's saying, don't count me out. I'm not done with my creative ability in this world. Notice how I'm coming through for her, because she honors our souls and she will not discuss the visions of love outside of faith. He's saying, I wasn't in it, but I'm not going to dishonor it. I would have if it needed to be done. He's like, I would have done exactly what she did, because she's pointing out some very, very lucid dreams that she has. Right? This is the nature of where he was. I had to deal with hell in my mind, but I also create that vision of beauty for my family tree. So he's still in the man. It's like the man wants to just keep going on and on. Right? How many people say, let's keep listening to that vision as it opens up the energy to those who can honor those visions of, I love to hear the celebrity souls when they are on their bed, right? People are going to be like, what do you mean? This is what happens sometimes when you embody a soul of your own. It's not him but his information still dropping down in nuggets. He says, I used to love those chicken nuggets, right? It's the nuggets of information. Don't bother with the vegetarians, is what he says. He says, I was in this town of love for all the health food. He's like, I was all about the shit food. But I learned from my wife about how to be a heart-centered soul. And he says, that's the one I want to reach out to in some way, shape, or form and say, believe in the fucking light. She's gonna change your fucking world when she comes through. That's the nature of his soul. He's still in that vision of strength. He's still in that vision of, I love my hearts. Whether they honor that or not, I can't help it. All of us have to come through in the way in which we honor our hearts. I'm not here to do a disservice to those people who don't want to watch, a soul come through the most authentic vision of who I was as a soul. I also had my depth and my strength that I drew upon, and I don't give a blank about John's vision or anybody else. There are two people in my life that I honor with their visions. And I say, I will never discuss their vision online. And that's his soul. He's asking for that consideration at this point, and so she's going to give that to him. And now I want to say thank you for joining us, right? That's about all we're going to do for you. People who say, well, wait a minute, I thought this was about the energy update. That's his soul saying, I've got the energy. I just need to do the time. He was like, I would have done time had I continued on in this life. He's like, I wasn't going to be able to make it through that vision of destruction for very long. I would have been out for blood in his mind with all the stuff that he was dealing with in his mind. He says, at this point, the females of the world need to own up to their shit. And when he says that, that's when he knows he's going toe to toe with her. And she's like, I get it, but I'm still tired of hearing about the male patriarchal garbage that I have to deal with from all souls sometimes. They try to lift me out of that vision of being female or male or whatever into those highest realms. But I'm like, I'm living here. I'm going to call it out when I see it. Not always. Sometimes I have to just let people be. But in general, as a societal impact video, you're going to hear about it. It doesn't mean I don't honor the vision of male or female or whatever. What I am done doing is trying to tell people that their visions are not less than some other vision. Now for me, he says she's going to go high because he's like, she'll tackle the things that most would not dare tackle in the mindset, much less in public forums. And that's her soul. It's not about saying something is wrong or right or whatnot. It is about, let's unwind the vision and say, do we need to have any more discussion about John? Or it's John Bon Jovi's over there too. He's laughing. Archangel Michael comes to her in the moment every time and says, I'm there if you need me. And these are those visions of love that still come through for her as support when she's trying to imbibe upon the vision of pop. I listen to a lot of pop because it's more of a feel-good kind of thing for me in the energy of it, unless I'm needing that intensity sometimes of rock. And there's a lot of crossover, but in essence, that's not what we're going to talk about, is it, when it comes to energy? His energy, he says, my energy's good. That's so the title's a little off, but it was about that nature of it. How many people know what it's like to be spud? It's spud. He's like, I was in that vision of spud. And it's the potato. So there's a spud energy that someone is either in love with, or they eat it a lot, or it's those random stuff that are going to come through for viewers who don't really ever get a chance to have their readings done because they're not ready yet to go for a session. But a lot of it is, he's like, the spud's going to make sense for somebody else as well. Wow, no, we're not, okay. This is the nature of her heart. She just draws connections sometimes in her own heart. Labor unions are going to be struggled in the world until we decide that we're going to take care of our workers. This is the INFJ mindset that's going to come through, because he's like, I'll do that work, right? He's like, I didn't give a blank about what was going on around me because I was just all in my own business. I honored the vision of love for family trees and whatnot, right? All of that. It's like all of that stuff was not a part of the gift of love from him. He says, let's just enjoy the view of his soul. Mark my words. When I hear that vision, it means I write down those words of wisdom that come out on the screen in the form of images or memes, as you would want to be called. Those are not my visions. Those are the visions of love carried through by many generations of souls, correct? How many people say they just want to hear from their family tree? Okay? It's not always about the family tree on a channeling for the soul. It's all of us together creating this beautiful vision of love. I get aspects of myself brought through in a soul embodiment session, but for the channeling, I get to do the vision of love for all souls as well. And it doesn't have to be the perfect match, right? I'm not always getting those perfect visions that people say that they want to listen to. They want to hear about the rock and roll days, right? He's like, no, I'm not going there. I've got somebody else who's taken the bow at some point. We're going to help her rise to that level of badass that everyone says that she is, right? Or not. They want to hear the vision of society that says, oh, we're just all going to talk about, vibrating in the beauty of what? Heaven or love. Some of us want to actually get on with the fucking lifestyle, right? He's going to say the lifestyle of the rich and famous. He's like, she's all that and more. She knows how to do the vision. But how many people know how to actually do it with grace and style? Okay? And he's like, bullshit, I didn't care about that, and I still made my mark. We're not all here to be famous and all beautiful and loving and caring, right? That's his soul. He's like, I'm still there in that moment. I've got higher visions coming through. And that would be his heart. I want to be strong for her. I want to be the strong one, too. We would always portray ourselves as, like, relentlessly strong. But I cry in my mind, right? How many people, especially men, won't even admit that they cry in their hearts when they hear visions of love that's gone asunder or awry? How many people say, I cry in my own way, but I can't get it out? Some of us don't get out that energy of, I just have to keep crying and crying and crying and crying, and it doesn't stop. That's where some of us are in this world at this moment, right? How many of us want to change the world in that way, where we say, let's end it already, right? Let's end the pain. That was his vision. I'm ending that relentless anger and awful energy out. And then, at some point, some of us start to clue in. I don't have to cry over everything anymore. I've been through worse. And maybe I haven't, but maybe I have. That's who I am. I've been through so much worse. Not even close. Carefree souls want to come through. You're going to see the somber side of light, right? The somber side of light versus the angry side of it. You see those visions of light that carry us through to the love realms, right? Why would we assume that it is not loving if we're able to finally express who we are as soul? If I'm angry, shouldn't I be able to express the anger that I feel for my heart? Did I tell you that I loved you yet? How many people want to know what it's like to hear the words from your soul all the time, right? Versus I hear some things that are not so pleasant when I'm tapped into the nature of all souls. It can be difficult to hear those visions of shootings. It can be difficult to hear those visions of terrorists. And it can be hell for some people to know that that's what she sometimes has to create with them. She doesn't do it in her heart, but she says, I'm on the lookout for those souls. I know who they are. And when I say that, people are going to be scared shitless when she says what she says about those souls who claim they're in the vision of Jesus or whoever, and that they are going to be the ones to rule the world. Thank you very much, INFJ mindset. That's the family for you. He'll take it to the next level. It's beyond that. It's not about saying that's the beauty of love, but it's about saying there are people here who take that mindset and then they run for it, right? And they get fucked up in the mind, and then they go thinking that they're going to, make everyone believe the same. It's not the way it's supposed to be. So those of us who are in this vision that we all have to think the same way in order to rise up to a level of understanding, it's not that way. So you don't have to create with the same visions to rise to the level of heaven. You don't have to create with the same beautiful visions of love, whatever they may be, to rise to the level of heaven. You honor your hearts, you honor your souls, you look around, you say, I love my family, right? You don't even have to love your family to rise to the level of heaven. There are so many visions of love that get lost in the moment. People are going, I don't understand the switch. When you hear the visions of Marines coming through, and these Marines that keep saying, I bet you want me to lose my weapon again, right? And her retort to that one was, if you are still in the military, by all means, have your weapon. Right? Do you want to hear from the celebrity soul sessions? They're going to go for it if someone doesn't stop that vision. She hears from the Marines. It's not just the Marines. It's not just the military. She hears from those souls who are about to do destructive visions. And it's not from them as they are here. It's from a level of understanding that it is to help us prepare for the morning news sometimes, or from the future. She's writing her visions down more often. And they're not hers, but they are hers. Her soul knows where to tap into it. You wouldn't be watching the news much if you were her. Because sometimes you have to take a break, and she does. She takes a break, and she's looking for the happy part of news sometimes because she doesn't want to be out of sync with the world either. God forbid I put my head in the sand and didn't believe that there was a pandemic going around, right? I still get those visions of those who died. Not always. It's more like every once in a while I still will be able to tell that someone is starting to come into that vision of COVID. And then I have to clear it out. Not everyone gets their hearts handed to them in the moment, but that's someone else here. So anyways, I think in essence, in honor of the visions of Marines or the military, we should just say, thank you for your service. That's what a lot of people will say, thank you for your service. So we're going to honor their hearts. If they do indeed identify as a Marine or as a military member first and foremost. But when it comes to soul, we would say very few actually identify as military when they cross. You would have to be lifetime and very significant in the mindset of that. It's not about dishonoring those visions of warriors, right? How many people want to know what that vision feels like to know that? It's not about saying this isn't who I was, but a lot of people do actually, join and then they retire, but they still carry the mindset with them to a certain extent. And then we cross, and then we kind of evaluate where we are versus where we were. And we say, do I still identify as a Marine? When I cross, I will give that vision to somebody if it is needed. Okay? Now, to honor the vision of, okay, it's not, it's Susan. Susan is another soul that was on the line for somebody. Archangels are also there. Okay? So I do indeed keep hearing about those souls. I am not here to validate the vision for those who think that they're going to just skip out on the pain here and pretend like they go to this realm of nothing but joy, right? That's part of the problem for the most part. And that's why there is an honoring of the souls who are in the faiths, who understand that's what was being created. So people understood what it was like to go through the process. There's going to be something called the Afterbirth of Religion. It is a birthing of religion that came through for some. Others will go back in time, unwind their visions, and say, that wasn't for me. It's not to discount those visions of love, but we sure as heck aren't going to sit around and just watch people die, are we? That's what a lot of people do when they go to the vision of the higher dimensions. They'll sit back and they'll just watch. Or they'll go to that vision of where I'm the light warrior. You know, that's another vision. I go to the place of peace for the most part because I'm dealing with it. I don't do very many societal impact visions because it usually will scare the crap out of people. Not in the way in which they think, but they'll go, well, what's coming up? Or what do I have to unwind now? Right? What are we working with as society? We're still angry at Biden. She's been hearing about Biden for weeks. She hasn't stopped hearing from him, actually. And that's his soul. And he says, thank you for your support. You know, in essence, she's still like, thank goodness I'm not just hearing all, you know. He has to honor her vision of he didn't come clean about some stuff. But who does? We all have privacy issues. I told my own soul, I'm like, I'm not going to just be an open book to everybody about my personal life, of course. But, yeah. Some people are going to have a hard time with this vision of, I do indeed take off a lot of the conditioning from this plane when I cross. And we all assume we're in this vibration of, I'm an angel. Some people tell me I will be one. I take a lot of stuff off here. I don't know what it's going to be like for me. I keep trying to put myself in a place that's peaceful and not lonely, but they say she'd be lonely, but she's going to have a good time. I'm tired of dealing with people's bullcrap. Here, for those of you who don't understand, you literally embody your soul, and then they lift you up and you feel all good and everything. And then they're like, why aren't you saying the real deal about Joanne and John? That's another vision of a couple that I had to sit there and deal with from various visions. People in my life. And yeah, we're going to be having a heat wave here soon. So anyways, enough of the jumping around. I just wanted to honor your hearts, your souls, your minds, and your miracles in the making. That's another vision of love that comes through very strong for us. We are all miracles in the making. And as Brenda came through with her badass soul, she said, I'm already there. I'm not in the making. I already claimed that vision. Not as an ego construct, but as the fact that I made it. And I'm here to be seen and heard. And others will say, I'm just happy to be alive. And that's the beauty of it. I made it through that process. I could have went to the dark side of light, and I could have went to that health vision that had me on my deathbed. Okay, or I could have been locked up in someone's basement. I have to hear about those who are going to commit murder. I have to transmit those visions elsewhere sometimes. Okay? Don't ever tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. Because I come through with strength and still love for the man that we all carry in our hearts as soul. So, let's enjoy the visions of love, take care, and have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday evening. And if you're watching this later, enjoy whatever time it is for you. Take care.